How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews back with yet another review. A little bit barrel-aged hopeful goodness in the form of Ballast Brewing Company's. It's their High West barrel-aged Victory at Sea. I've never had this before, and I'm kind of pumped to try it. This is a 2018 version, so this would be... Who bought them? Constellation? Was it Constellation Brands that bought them? Now they're owned by some other kind of think tank investor kind of group. Anyway, I've always wanted to try this. I've had a bunch of Victories at Sea. I actually really enjoy the beer in general. It ages quite well, especially the older versions. Probably the last time I reviewed that, just based off memory, might have been in like 2015, and it was probably a 2011 bottle or something like that. So I've dug the beer over the years, but I just haven't had a chance to really crack this one. But my boy Steven came to the rescue, drove by my place, dropped off a bunch of beers, and this is in there. And he was kind of like, you know, shrugged his shoulders, hey, you want to try this? And I was like, fuck yeah, motherfucker, I want to try it. I'm like, I've always wanted to try this beer. So let's dive into it. Label-wise, I really dig the label. Kind of, you know, very Davy Jonesy, kind of awesome graphical design. This is, for those playing along at home, it's an Imperial Porter, not a stout. And it is coffee and vanilla bean flavors. Keep that in mind. Flavors, not vanilla beans, but vanilla bean flavor. And aged in High West bourbon and rye barrels. Yeah. 2018. So we'll see what's what. That looks like a stout, but it's not, because it's an Imperial Porter. Yeah, rich, thick, kind of what I like my coffee to look like. Colored head. She definitely looks the part of a beefy barrel-aged beer. See if you get a nose. It smells awesome. It smells awesome. I know it says vanilla flavor in there, but the vanilla is so, I don't want to say huge, because I've had beers with like way more kind of sharp vanilla. This this smells like a fucking gargantuan amount of vanilla that's coming strictly from a barrel. For those that know out there, that kind of difference between vanilla that's added to a beer to vanilla that comes from a barrel, I'm sure that vanilla added to this is kind of accentuating that vanilla, but it smells like all the vanilla from all the barrels. Try to get this little buggy out of here. First nice day. It's 70 degrees out. Bugs are already in full effect. So that whiskey comes through. It's not anything hot. It's got this rich kind of cherry chocolate kind of cordial vibe going on with it. Huge vanilla out of the chute. Marshmallow, like inside the vanilla, it's like marshmallow, coconut, all these kind of vibrant, kind of rich, kind of desserty kind of vibes. There's a nice chocolate to it with a subtle little roast. Nothing getting close to coffee or anything like that, but this really does smell like a very nice chuggable. And when I say chuggable, it's kind of got that kind of effervescent kind of porter fluffiness to it. That's why it makes it kind of drinkable for me. But she smells delicious. She smells almost like a desserty beer without being overtly sweet, which is a cool trick to pull off. Let's dive in. Cheers. I just realized I put my finger in the drink. It's coronavirus time. Yeah. Bad news. Not really. When you live in a farm and you don't touch anything and you're a hermit, feel better about these things. Anyway, yeah, this comes off way more bittering than I thought it would be based off the nose, and that's a good thing. The vanilla is nice. It comes through. It's a leader in the clubhouse for me outside of that bittering, or maybe tied with that bittering. Where it starts to lose me a little bit, the roasted malts come off nice. It does kind of give this big kind of coffee vibe to it, is that there is some oxidation going on in here. Nothing criminal, but I think it kind of tempers a bit of the mouthfeel, and I think it tempers a little bit of the vibrance of the beer. It's still tasty. It's still delicious. But this is the 2018 version. What's the ABV in this? 12%. I'm guessing maybe a 1 year is perfect on this. And this is kind of goes back to what I say a lot of times when it comes to kind of aging beer. You know, Core 4 bottle conditioned beer, #1 ager. Barrel aged Core 4 bottle condition, that's a pretty good ager. Once you start adding multiple components to it, coffee and vanilla and all those kind of things, you start to kind of lessen the likelihood of longevity of a beer. Not necessarily like these beers could last a very long time, but you know, the odds of it lasting longer go markedly down for each kind of adjunct you throw in there. There's just more moving parts, more that can go wrong. Not that this beer's turning sour or going bad, but I just think with those added pieces, There's organic matter. There's more oxygen, so you can have this kind of oxidation kind of creep up a little bit faster, and not necessarily turn the beer into a negative beer, turn it into soy sauce or sourness, but just kind of make the beer peak a little bit quicker, and that's where I think this one lands. So I like the way it kind of showed that coffee, that it didn't come off in the nose. I like the way that barrel kind of presented throughout the whole thing. The vanilla, while very kind of heady and very aggressive, wasn't overpowering, so I appreciate that throughout the whole beer. I just wish it ended up being a little bit more kind of, the body was there and just have a little bit more complexity in the base of the beer at this age. But I still really do enjoy it. This is not going to get wasted, let's put it that way. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better barrel-aged adjunct beers that I've had as of late. It's in the conversation, but it's not getting towards the top because of that kind of soft oxidation in there. Value availability, I don't know. I forget what these came in at when they originally hit price points. So Steven, let me know what you paid for it. I'm assuming this is going to be $8 a bottle, $6 to $8 a bottle, being that it was Ballast Point and Constellation time. And leave you with, if you like this beer. If you like barrel-aged beers, you like the way you like ageable beers, because I think if you really dig aging beers, you're okay with what's happening here, because you understand the process. And if you want to just weep a little bit for the lack of barrel-aged goodness, because when the Constellation, right before Constellation sold off, and I believe it was Constellation, if I'm fucking up, I'm sorry, sold off Ballast Point, they dumped a crazy amount of their barrel program just because they didn't want to deal with it. Like, that's like an Excel sheet corporate move in a conference room somewhere. And, there's probably some awesome barrel-aged beer floating around there that doesn't exist anymore. So if you like shedding a tear for good old barrel-aged programs that don't exist anymore, this will be worth it. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massive. If you want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing, and hopefully you guys have enough hay. Hopefully you have enough beer. Hopefully see you next time. Cheers.